Welcome friends to another r/MaliciousCompliance video. If you want to do one friendly thing today, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below. That said, our first story of the day is by Buck the Freak Naked. Stop treating me like a kid. This malicious compliance was on the part of my mom. It was almost 19 years ago now, but I thought you all might find it mildly amusing. I'm sure there's similar stories of parents doing the same thing. My youngest brother was lazy when he was in his early teens. This occurred during summer break from school. Our parents required us to be in bed at 10 p.m. on weekdays, even during breaks from school, since our dad had to leave for work at 5:30 a.m. This has been a rule for years. My mom was a stay-at-home mom who busted her butt doing household stuff for all of us that she didn't have to do, but she enjoyed seeing her family happy. My little brother had recently had his 14th birthday a couple of days before, and was lucky enough to have been gifted an Xbox and 2 games he very much wanted. In our family, this was a big deal because our parents, while not poor, weren't exactly flush with money and had saved up for it by cutting coupons and cutting back on luxuries they enjoyed. One day during this break, my 14-year-old brother was up playing his newly acquired Xbox still, hadn't gotten ready for bed yet, and it was coming up on 10 p.m. I had already gotten ready and was reading a book. Being in post-secondary at the time, I thought it was common courtesy to be quiet since I'm living there for free. My mom tells my brother he has to go to bed and to please turn off the game. Suddenly, the Xbox seems to be the reason he didn't like the rules anymore. Mom, looking very annoyed at my ungrateful brother, tells him it's not an option and that he's going to bed now. Little bro says, "But why does he get to stay up? That's not fair." He, as in me, his college-age brother. Mom says, "Because he's an adult, that's why, and you're going to bed this instant." Little bro says, "No, stop treating me like a kid. I'm not a little kid anymore." I see my mom get a funny look on her face. She smiles. I have no idea what's going on at this point, and I'm pretty surprised because usually by this point, she'd bring down the sanctions hammer and possibly take away the Xbox. But she doesn't. She simply says, "Okay," and goes to the kitchen where I hear her whisper something to our dad, but I'm too far away to hear. Dad goes into the garage where he keeps his woodworking stuff and returns with earplugs in his hands, and our parents go to bed. I had to sleep almost an hour later, my little bro still gaming away. The next morning, my little brother doesn't get up until just before noon and has some cereal. Then dinner time comes. Mom had made an eggplant casserole. My brother hated eggplant. Normally she'd make something else for him. Not this time. Little brother says, "Where's my food?" Mom says, "Oh, there's some ingredients in the pantry for you to make dinner with." My brother ends up eating cereal again because he can't figure out what he's supposed to do. A few days later, he's got no clean clothes left. "Mom, I have nothing to wear." Mom, smiling like the Cheshire Cat, says, "I usually do my laundry on Fridays. Which day would you like to use the laundry machines?" Little bro says, "But..." Mom says, "How about Saturdays? They're free that day." "Oh look, today's Saturday. Feel free to use them." And she walks out of the room to go lay on the patio and read. As she goes through the kitchen, she passes my dad, and they both laugh. My bro continues to wear his clothes saturated with teenage stank instead. Gross. At dinner, my parents announced they're taking us to a matinee showing on Sunday morning of Terminator. I think it was the 3rd one. My brother really wanted to go. My mom said we'd go at 10 a.m. for the 10:30 showing. To the best of my memory, it was sometime in the late morning. Well, my little bro stayed up super late again playing Xbox. It was almost time to leave and my brother still wasn't awake. Normally our mom would have asked him to go to bed at midnight on a weekend, but dear malicious compliance mom decided she didn't feel like stressing herself out arguing with him. As we're putting our shoes on, I go, "Hey, is it just us?" Mom says, "Well, we all knew the time in advance. Don't worry, your brother will be fine." Dad says he's gonna be so mad and smiles at my mom. The rest of us go enjoy the movie, including our other brother. Then our parents take us out to lunch. We get back home around 2 p.m. or something like that, and little bro comes practically running down the stairs, still in his stank butt clothes that haven't been washed, with tears in his eyes. He says, "How come you went without me? I wanted to see Terminator 2. Mom says, "That really sucks. The other adults went to bed on time. You asked me to not treat you like a kid anymore? Sorry that you missed it. Maybe if you ask the neighbors if they need their lawn mowed, you can make enough to buy a movie ticket and a bus ticket to get there." He just looked at her and cried harder. My little bro and my parents went to talk. Apparently my bro had cereal for lunch while we went to a sit-down restaurant. and he was salty about that too. That night, my brother went to bed at 10 p.m. sharp. As a bonus, Mom taught him how to do his own laundry and basic cooking skills over the next month. He seemed happier, started thanking my mom on the time she did stuff for him, and my mom eventually told him she was really proud he decided to be respectful of the rest of the family. My parents were so happy about his change in attitude that my mom took him and a friend to see the movie. It was still playing in cheap theaters. So, do you guys think, considering the kid acted the way they did, that what the parents did here was the right thing? Giving the kid a little taste of being an adult, telling them to do their own laundry, make their own food, wake up on time themselves. Would you do the same thing for your kids? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Plugged In But Dead. Yeah, screw your laundry then. Background: I live in an apartment building with a backyard. Landlady set up drying lines in one part of the backyard that we're free to use. I live on the ground floor, and my apartment has direct access to the backyard. I work from home, so I'm almost always here every day. Now, I have perfect views of the lines and can see if there's any clothes hanging on them. Sometimes a fellow resident will hang their clothes and either forget about them or be somewhere else when it's raining. So what I usually do is I bring them in and leave them in a little waiting room we have in the building where they can easily find it. It's happened enough times that everyone already knows I'm the one doing it. A few weeks ago, one of the residents came to me and complained about how I handled their clothes. She said I laid them down on a dirty surface or rumpled them too much. They were washed, of course there'll be creases. She might have also insinuated that some of the pieces were missing. I don't cross-dress, nor do I have a fascination for other people's clothes. She ends her complaint with, "I'd rather you not touch my clothes in any way." That's the first time someone complained to me about rescuing their freshly laundered clothes. Didn't think much about it until today. A few hours ago, I see her hanging her clothes to dry. Fast forward to now, I'm looking at them getting drenched from this awesome rain. She did tell me not to touch them. I'm currently working in front of the window so I can see when she finally takes them in. Maybe I'll give her a wave. Update: she finally took them some time ago and asked me why I didn't bring them in. I reminded her of our past conversation, and she called me a childish freaker. I do feel a bit sorry, as some of the clothes were apparently her work uniforms, and I know she'll be working early tomorrow. Only just a bit though. Just received a text from our landlady asking why she's pissed at me. Resident made a complaint. I told the landlady everything, and she also called me a freaker, in a positive sense though. Said I shouldn't worry about it as it doesn't violate any of the building's rules. So OP's out here doing such an incredibly free and thoughtful service, and your reaction is to go, "Hey you creep, stop rescuing my clothes from the rain," and then get upset that they don't go and do it after you complained to them and called them basically like a freaky predator guy. Our next story is by an anonymous poster. My family said I was ignoring them by being deaf, so I turned off my hearing aids. I, non-binary 18, am hard of hearing and wear hearing aids for work, but I hate them with a passion. They're uncomfortable, and if you've never worn them, let me tell you, it's literally so exhausting. Anyway, my extended family's staying with my parents and I, and they don't want me to go without hearing aids. They refuse to learn ASL and talk to me while I'm not looking and can't read their lips, so they complain that I ignore them. To make a long story short, my family went out to dinner together, and I was signing with my brother and sister-in-law. And my aunt said it looked like ghetto gang signs, another issue altogether, and I got mad, so I did exactly what they said I'd do. I ignored them by turning off my hearing aids, and my brother translated to the waitress for me. He agreed beforehand. Either way, I'm a huge fan thus far of not having to deal with their complaining. I think it's greatly disappointing here that OP is hard of hearing and their own parents aren't interested in learning at least a little bit of sign language to make things a little bit easier. They'd rather just complain that OP's not making their disability slightly easier for them. It's like if somebody had a hard time walking around but they had crutches, that if you went to the store with them and they chose to use the mobility cart, it'd be okay to complain that it's just faster to walk around. It's like, do you realize how insensitive and rude you're being? Our next story is by Paramir. As hard as I can? My brother drove 2 cars, one for summer and one for winter. Where we live, roads are heavily salted, so to avoid rusting his truck in the winter, he instead drove his Suburban. I can't remember the exact issue with the Suburban. I think the wheels were locked in place and the brakes were stiff. He had me sit in the driver's seat while he started checking out the rest of the vehicle. and eventually came back to me after he couldn't find anything. He said, "I need you to pump the brakes." I say, "Okay, they're still stiff. How hard?" He says, "As hard as you can." I say, "As hard as I can?" He says, "As hard as you can." Now, we all know it doesn't take a lot to destroy your brakes, and to be frank, I'm not sure what he was expecting. I start pumping, and after the 5th or 6th time, I felt a pop and the pedal stuck to the floor. It was my first time seeing so many warning lights come on in a car. So yeah, I popped the brake lines. In the end, my brother had to take the Suburban to his grandpa's to get it fixed. He offered, and in the meantime, he took a family member's car. This next story is by iBro18, Fix the Errors. I work in a clothing warehouse where I basically ride around on a pack mule all day and pull clothes from boxes, put them in boxes on my cart, and then drop them off to be checked for errors. Recently, 2 new girls were hired to check for errors, and at around 5:30, an hour before closing, one of the new girls aggressively started shouting, "Are you ever going to fix your errors, or am I going to have to do it myself?" I've always fixed my errors at the end of the day, so that it doesn't mess up the amount of work I have to get done each hour. But I was not about to take a rude comment like that lying down. I snapped back that I'm not even allowed to leave until my errors are fixed. And she snapped back with, "I don't care, just fix the errors." Then she went to break. Cue malicious compliance. The majority of people at my job fix their errors at the end of the day, so at 5:30, there's a huge stack of errors just waiting to be fixed. Around 30 people's worth of errors. So I decided to fix every single one and dump them all into her section while she was on break. When she came back, she started crying and whining about how mean and rude I am to her, but nobody said anything about it to me, and I've never gotten backlash. But ever since then, she's kept her mouth shut about my errors and has not given me lips since. I mean, if you're new to a job and you think somebody's making a mistake but you're not completely sure about it, maybe actually hear them out when they give you an explanation rather than just accusing them and being rude. Probably would have worked out a lot better. This next story is by EC224-2001, Hexennacht. This just happened and I'm waiting to see what upper management has to say about it, but our company turned 2 minor holidays into floating holidays. Sounds good until you go to take one and you find out the restrictions. Viable flexible holidays are those recognized on a religious, federal, state or public, or local culturally significant date, and or employee or immediate family member birthday. Okay then. Hexennacht, occasion honoring those who fell victim to superstition and pseudoscience, whether by witch hunt, satanic panic, or other injustices. Celebrated by the Satanic Temple. It falls on Saturday, April 30th, but I'll need that Friday off to get ready for the celebration. Your move, company. I'm just wondering if OP's literally willing to join the Satanic Temple just to get this holiday off. This is going to be one of those policies where somebody all of a sudden becomes everything under the book just to get all these flexible holidays off. Next thing you know, they're going to show up and be like, "Next Tuesday is National Coffee Day. I can't miss that." Give some ridiculous excuse to get away with it too. And our final story of the day is by Fool's Errand 376. You'll honor the price. I have about 20 can lights in my house. They were all incandescent. About 5 years ago, Home Depot had a sale on Cree LED bulbs. Dumb luck, I was on their website at work and saw the deal. I figured it was time to get into the modern day and save some money on my electric bill. Okay, I'll swing by on my way home. I didn't order them online, but the website said the store had them in stock. I printed out the sales price and SKU from the web, went to the store and loaded up my cart. Went to check out, rung up at the wrong price. I showed them the online advert. They said no dice. I said, "But you match prices. This is a Home Depot store. This is from the Home Depot website." Manager said, "Sorry, but the online store is different from the brick and mortar store. We don't match online prices." Okay, fine. So I put the light bulbs back on the shelf. Go to the contractor desk and hop on their computer. Go to the website, make an online purchase, have the pro desk print out my receipt. I head out to the car, hang out for about 30 minutes, come back in to pick up my light bulbs. Manager comes over and I show them the receipt for the pickup of the bulbs. Manager says, "Where's the cart you had them in?" I say I put them back on the shelf since you weren't going to sell them to me. So we get someone to go get the bulbs off the shelf for me. Manager says, "You know you could have just left them in the cart." I say, and you could have honored the price when I first got here. It's not much, but it made me happy. This is definitely a very stupid rule. If it's on their website and you can order it with pickup from the store and you're in the store and tell them that, there's no reason why they should say, it's different, we can't price match that. I would literally stand right there in front of the manager, pull out my phone and say, alright, give me a minute, I'll make an online order. You could just walk me through right now, but I'm gonna stand right here in this checkout and fill out each individual light. Like, absolutely it's petty, absolutely it's probably a bit of a Karen move, but they deserve it. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.